Data Crack, where we break down the data and crack interview together. This is the last day or the 7th day of our Power BI interview series, where we are covering 70 mostly asked interview questions from Power BI in just 7 days. Each day we are targeting 10 questions. So the topic for today is that today question is totally based on scenario based and the real world type of a questions. Okay, once you have already built your project, means even the cross questions from your project can be based on this scenario. So let's start with the first question without any delay. So the first question is that your report is taking, you have already built a report, all right, and it is taking too long time to load. What step would you take to improve its performance? Normally for that, to improve the performance of any report, you just need to limit the visual per page. Means in one page you should have maximum 6 to 8 visual, all right. Similarly, you can also remove unnecessary column. If you have any unnecessary column and you haven't removed it, it might take a time to load your report. So you need to remove even unnecessary unnecessary columns and all. Similarly, instead of using direct query, because direct query normally leads to poor performance or slow performance, all right. So you should use import mode instead of your direct query. Similarly, we need to use optimized DAX. We need to avoid nested calculated use of summax carefully. Similarly, we can enable query folding where possible. For example, we are using the database type of a column, there query folding is needed, so we need to enable, all right. Similarly, in the next question, you might have asked the question like your manager want to see the data filtered by department without creating multiple report. What will you do? As previously we have already studied about the row label security, where on the basis of our role users and role, the data, the access for the data is provided, all right. So we can normally use row label security to solve this issue. Similarly, if you are asked to show the sales growth month over month, what will you do normally? We can normally use the dash functions like month to month, and we can just simply total sales minus calculated, and you can use this DAX function and you can just include over your line chart or KPI. Okay. Similarly, in the next question here, we want that your client want dynamical switching between revenue and profit in the same chart. How would you implement that? For that, we can normally use field parameter features to let user toggle between multiple measure. All right. In the fifth question, you have multiple date column like order, date, ship. How would you handle this model? We can use normally role playing data table as we have previously studied. All right, with inactive relationship and active using user relationship in your DAX. All right. Now in the sixth question here, we are provided with a question that the data resource is updated daily. All right. How will you ensure Power BI reflect the latest change? For that, we can normally set up the schedule refresh in Power BI service, require a Power BI gateway if the source is on premises, and even we can set frequency and time slot if needed. All right. Similarly, if you want to find the percentage of the total sales by region, what dash function would you use? We can normally use the calculated and all. All right. All will remove the filter from the data and calculated. We can just normally use, and we can divide it by. Similarly, in the eighth question, we are provided with one scenario based question where our client want different view of a sales team and the finance team from the same report. How would you achieve that? For that, we can normally use dynamic row label security. For that, we can normally use dynamic row label security, bookmark and bottom, and we can even use separate page with conditional navigation based on the user role. All right. Now second last question here we have is that what is a report is showing incorrect total in metric. What is the issue? For example, if it is showing incorrect total in the metric, all right, if it is showing incorrect total, in the metric. It might be because of a two reasons. The first one is row label and another one is filter label context. Alright, so due to row label versus filter context mismatch in the measure, so we can normally use SUMX has one value or existing DAX logic. Alright, we are asked to use the same data model across multiple reports. What would you approach? What is your approach? Publish the data to Power BI supply. We can first of all, we can normally publish our data set to Power BI service, then create live connection report using the shared data set. This enables centralized modeling and governance. Alright, similarly, in the next video, we will create a live project that will be totally based on Power BI, and we will also understand what cross question might ask in interview related to that project. Alright, yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you learned something new today, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to DataCraft. More exciting content is on the website.